Hello guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. My name is Sky, and in today's video I am doing something a little bit different. I mean, it's still the same thing that I normally do. I'm going to be doing my makeup. However, I wanted to come on here and show you guys and go through all, sorry, I'm trying to get, there's like hair in my brush, and oh my goodness, there's like hair everywhere. I wanted to go through all of my tips and tricks that I do every day to make applying my makeup 10 times easier, whether or not it's just an everyday makeup look or I have an event to go to. So I'm going to show you right now, so just in case you want to watch, I'm going to show you how to go from this. Okay, so I brought you guys in a little bit closer so you can see everything, and the first tip I want to go through is primers. So I've said this before in multiple of my videos, I don't always wear primer. However, when I do, it's with certain foundations. I do have really oily skin, so I'm oily on my nose and in my T-zone area, so sometimes I need a really good primer depending on what foundation I'm using. And a tip that I have learned, I don't remember where I learned it from, is using a eye primer on your nose if you have an oily nose to help control the oils. So it actually works really well, and I'm going to be doing it today. I'm using the MAC Prep and Prime 24-Hour Extended Eye Base. It just looks like this. You can really use any eye primer, but it has a little bit of a different consistency which helps lock in the oils just a little bit more. So I'm going to be taking this and just applying it directly to my nose, and I'm going to go onto the rest of my face with the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to go into is foundation. So you can apply a foundation in two different ways. So you can use a beauty sponge or you can use a brush. Now I have a tip for both of them. We'll start with the brush first because I'm going to be applying my foundation with the beauty sponge, but I still want to go over this. So I have two different brushes here, both of them that I use for foundation, and currently right now they are both dirty. As you can see, I don't use brushes every day. I only use them once in a while, and I just haven't had a chance to clean my brushes yet. Now, what I find a lot of complaint that people have when they're putting on their makeup with a brush is that it's streaky, and one of the main reasons for that is because you're using a dirty foundation brush to apply it, which is causing it to become streaky. So what I suggest to do is always have makeup brush cleaner and paper towels next to your makeup stand, or by wherever it is that you're doing it, easy access to it, so you can clean your brushes before you do your makeup. So what happens is when you use your foundation, after a while the bristles are going to start sticking together. See how it's not as fluffy like how this one is? Now this isn't a foundation brush, but this is what your brush should look like even when you're going to apply it. So it's a lot more fluffier, whereas this one, the bristles are like stuck together. That's going to cause your foundation to become streaky. So if you are cleaning your brush every day, oh, also with this one. So this one too, you can see it a little bit better. So all of the bristles are stuck together. So if you try to apply your foundation with a brush that looks like this, you're going to get streaks and it's going to be a lot harder to blend it out. Now with a beauty blender, one thing that people do wrong is they drag it on their face. You don't want to do that. It's going to soak all into the beauty blender, and it's not going to, it also could very well become streaky. So I'm going to go in with the Superstay 24-Hour Foundation by Maybelline in 120. This is the foundation I always use. And with my beauty blender, I just put 2 pumps on the back of my hand, and you want to stamp it into your face. This is going to help you get the most amount of coverage, as well as the most use out of your product, and a nice flawless surface. Whereas if you were to be dragging it, you might make your foundation a little bit more sheer, as well as you won't get a nice smooth finish. Okay, now I'm going to move on to concealer. So I have two concealers here that I like to use. I have the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and I have the e.l.f. 16-Hour Camo Concealer. They're both great. This one's a dupe for this one, so if you don't have the Tarte Shape Tape one, the e.l.f. one looks great. I think I'm going to go in actually with the e.l.f. one today. So I'm just going to put it where I normally put it. So I'm going to put it under my eyes, But when I put it under my eyes, I'm also going to lift it up here a little bit. This is going to give your eye that more lifted effect. And it looks really pretty. So this works really well if you're using a concealer that is lighter than your foundation. This concealer might be a little bit too light, but that's okay. So I'm going to put it there. I like to put a little bit here to add some highlight, as well as down the center of my nose, again, to add some highlight. Same thing with here, just a little bit. And then I get acne on my chin, so I'm going to put some there. But I also put some on the sides of my face right here. This adds a little bit more dimension and almost gives you a contour to your face without actually contouring your face. So, and it also, if you're using a darker foundation, so I had a tan on, so I'm using, this is like my dark foundation. So it doesn't quite match, but if you use a lighter concealer in this area here, and even on your chin, then when it blends into your neck, it's not as noticeable that it's not your shade. So I'm just going to go ahead and blend this out. And again, I'm not dragging it down my eyes. You're just doing really, really light patting motions. And then I'm going to keep blending it up into my hairline. And it gives you that nice, like I said, that nice lifted effect. Okay, and the next step that I would normally do is powder my face. So I have a brand new setting powder here. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and just powder my face. I like using my beauty blender. I don't have necessarily a trick for this. However, I do use a beauty blender underneath of my eyes to apply my powder. Just a little bit. I'm not taking a lot. Just like that. And applying it underneath of my eyes. I'm not baking it. I'm just pressing it in. And actually what I'm also going to do is to help with oil control because of my, like I said before, because my nose is oily, I'm going to take the powder onto my beauty blender and I'm going to stamp it onto my nose. And then with a fluffy brush, I'm going to go right after and brush it off. But when stamping it in, I just find it helps that my foundation lasts longer in that area. And it also helps with oil control. So I'm also going to take the powder and pat it on the sides of my cheeks. And then go in with that same brush and brush it off almost immediately. And do the same thing on the other side. Then I'm just going to take the same brush and powder the rest of my face. Now, as you can tell, the same thing, oh, I put a lot. The same thing that I was doing with my beauty sponge is you don't necessarily want to drag your brush all over your face with the powder because I feel like it wipes off product. So I apply the powder first and pat it on, and then I go back over it and wipe it to take off some of the excess. Now, as you can see, it gave me that nice lifted effect on my eyes. It highlighted this area, so now this matches the rest of my face, or matches my neck. And it almost contoured me right in this area here. Now I'm still going to bronze and everything, but that's just a little trick that I like to do. I'm going to go in with my Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. Looks like this. And I'm going to go with, I think, the middle shade today. I'm going to go in with this shade here with a fluffy brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of that and tap off the excess, because if you just go right in, you're going to put way too much on your face. Now, This is another trick that I wanted to show you guys. It is very important as to where you hold your brushes. If you go and you hold right up here and you start applying bronzer to your face or contour to your face, you're going to have a harsh line and it's going to be a lot harder to blend it out. So hold it at the end and do small circular motions to blend in the product. Just like that. Now it's not as harsh. If you need to go back in with some product, you can do that. Even sometimes like to just stipple the product in, I guess. Make sure you brush it into your hairline because you don't want there to be a weird line here of no product. I'm going to go ahead and do my forehead. However, if you have a smaller forehead, then contouring or bronzing your forehead might not necessarily be something that you want to do because it's only going to give you appearance of an even smaller forehead. Now with me, I have a relatively larger forehead, so I like to contour that area. Just right along the sides of my temples, leaving the inside here still highlighted. Now to contour your nose. I like to use a relatively fluffy brush, so I use something like this. I don't need anything too precise. I'm not mad with the way the front of my nose looks. It just, I feel like it helps to add a little bit more dimension to the nose and it matches the rest of your face. So I'm going to go in with the same shade that I was using before and just run this along the sides of my nose. And then I'm also going to bring it up into the brow bone area. This just helps to make everything blend in a little bit better. Just helps it look a little bit more natural. Now don't worry, I'm not going to leave it like that. I'm also going to take some of that product and put it onto the end of my nose. This helps to make your nose appear shorter. Now I'm going to go back in with my powder brush and go just over top of it to blend it out a little bit more and make it not so harsh. Now moving on to blush. I'm going to be going in with my BH Cosmetic Classic Blush 10 color blush palette that looks like this. It's a super pretty palette. So the trick with blush is that, so you'll see a lot of people, they'll put it onto the apples of their cheeks or they'll have it right here. The thing with putting it on the apples of your cheeks is that if you have bigger cheeks, it's only going to make the appearance of your cheeks bigger. Now, if you don't mind that, then go right ahead. But if that is something that you don't like and you just are doing it to add a little bit of warmth to your face, try to keep it more in this area here and blend it in with your contour or bronzer. I have relatively bigger cheeks. However, I don't mind the look of my blush being on the apples of my cheeks. So I apply a little bit on the apples, but I also bring it up and blend it in with the rest of my bronzer. Now, another trick with blush is I like to take a little bit of it and just put it onto the end of my nose. That's personal preference. You don't have to do that. I just like the look of it. I think it's cute. So now I'm going to go into eyebrows. First things first when it comes to your eyebrows, I am going to be using a pomade. I use the Anastasia Beverly Hills pomade in, I think, soft brown is what my color is. Yeah, soft brown. Okay, so I'm going in with a small angled brush like this. Now notice this angled brush still has product on it. You don't want that. So again, like I said before, same thing with your foundation brush. I have my paper towel next to me. And I'm going to go ahead and just clean my brow brush. The pomade just looks like this. I really, really like it. Looks like that. So I'm going to take some out of here and I'm going to put it onto the lid. And I'm going to flatten out my brush to make it a little bit more thin. Easier to make a nice thin line when applying the product to my brow. And the first thing you want to do with your brows is brush them up completely. So you're going to draw a line all the way down following the natural shape of your brow until you reach the end. So my camera shut off while I was in the middle of recording. I don't know where it ended. Went ahead and did my brows by eyelining or underlining from the middle of the brow to the end, connecting it, doing the same thing from the top, and then filling the rest of it in. Now, because I added concealer to my eyelids, they are also prepped for my eyeshadow. I'm just going to go ahead and take some of that powder that I used to set the rest of my face with onto my beauty blender and set my lids so they don't crease. We can finally move on to eyeshadow, and I am using the Ultimate Neutrals Shadow Palette by BH Cosmetics. Just looks like this. If you guys haven't seen my BH Cosmetics review, go ahead and watch that. I did a full face using all BH Cosmetics products. So I'm going to be going ahead with a fluffy brush, and I'm going to start with my transition shade. So I'm going to go in with this shade here. So your transition shade just has to be a few shades lighter than your skin tone, and it just helps to blend in with the rest of your shadows to your skin so you don't have a harsh line. And I'm just going to take a little bit on my palette onto my brush, tap it off. And then notice how I'm holding it at the end. This, again, like I talked before, it's really important when you're working with eyeshadows because you don't want to make it too harsh when you're applying them. And then I'm going to go in small circular or window washing motion like this to help to blend out the shadows. So you really want to bring this right to the front, depending on the look. This all depends on the look. But for my look, I am going to bring it right up to the front here, almost blending it in with the contour that we did on the nose, and then bringing it out, and now my transition shade is down. The next shade I'm going to go into, I'm sorry, I don't know the names, they don't have names, so I'm just going to have to show you. The next shade that I'm going to go into is my crease shade, which is going to be this shade right here. So I'm going to take a little bit, I'm using the exact same brush that I used for the transition shade, and I'm going to just start going in windshield wiper motions in my crease. Just going back and forth, back and forth. So I'm going to bring this product out just a little bit up here, and this is going to give you almost that nice cat eye, blown out effect. So I'm going to bring it right out. Now notice how I didn't do this at the beginning, because if I did there would be way too much product over here. So I did it almost at the end when there was no more product left. Now that I have my crease shade down, I'm going to go in with a little bit darker of a shade. So I'm going to go in with this shade right here. So I'm going to go in with this smaller, flat, kind of, but still fluffy brush. Oh my god, my nose is so itchy. I'm going to lightly tap it. So now that I have it applied, I'm going to go in with that same brush, holding it at the end, and start blending it out. I think I'm going to go in with this shade right here. It's not really coming up well on camera, and it looks like this. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply this just directly to the eyelid, but keeping the focus of it on the inner corner and following up my natural crease of my eye, almost giving myself a cut crease effect without having to actually use concealer and make a cut crease. I love how this is coming out. Okay, I'm going to go over, I'm going to go ahead and do the other eye, and I'll be right back to show you eyeliner. I went ahead and I finished the other eye. Let's do eyeliner next, and then I'll do the bottom underneath my eyes. Okay, so I'm going to move my mirror closer. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a felt tip. It looks just like this. It is super pigmented. I love this eyeliner. You can use a gel liner with a skinny or a small angled brush like this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to angle it down, follow the natural shape of my eye, and draw a line as thin as I can, going up as long as I want it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the inner corner of my eye. And bring it in. I hope you guys can see this. So, and then I'm going to bring it in. To the bottom like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go halfway up this line here, not all the way to the top. I'm going to go halfway down and draw a line out and connect it almost into the center of the other line that you drew like that. Then you're just going to fill it in. You don't want the top of this eyeliner to look too thick. I like it to be a little bit more thin, and then it also takes up less room on your eyes, on your eyelid. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, and then I'm also going to apply shadow to the bottom line, put on mascara, and then we'll move on to falsies. Okay, I finished with my other eye. So what I just did now is I applied some glue to my lashes. I'm using these ones right here, but any eyelashes that you have will work. I got these off of Amazon actually. And what I'm going to do is, like I said, I already have the glue applied to them. Any glue really works. I really like the Duo glue, but whatever glue you have is fine. So I'm going to take it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of rock them back and forth. This is kind of give the lashes an arch, making it a lot easier to apply. And also the one mistake, I feel like the number one mistake that people make when applying lashes is they don't let the glue dry long enough before they put it on. You want the glue to get tacky, it'll make it so much easier when you're putting on eyelashes. If you just apply glue right to these lashes and then you stick them on, they're going to slip and slide all over the place, making it 10 times harder to apply lashes. Also, tweezers are your best friend. Now, I have been putting on lashes for a while, so I can actually put on lashes perfectly fine with just my fingers, but tweezers help a lot too. So I'm going to let these dry a little bit. Also, another thing, always make sure that your lashes fit. Now, I have worn these before, so I know that they fit, but if I was just pulling out a new pair of lashes, you want to check them first to see if they fit. If they don't, you want to cut them. Now, to cut them, I usually measure them by the little sections of lashes. So see how there's like each section of lashes? So I usually count it by that, like how many sections I have to cut off. These ones I don't have to cut anything, but when you cut it, you want to cut it from the outside and not the inside, because the outside is usually longer than the inside, and if you cut the inside, this part is going to be way too long. So you want to cut from the outside. So this should be long. This should have been dried long enough. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this on. I like to have a mirror in front of me tilted a little bit so I can look down and apply them. And you want to sit them just on your lashes and then push it as close to your skin as possible. Now I chose a really dramatic lash just for fun. And there we go, my lashes are on. Alright guys, and this is the finished look right here. I hope this video helped. If it did, or you just enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel down below and click the notification bell. It's just that little bell icon so you can get notified every time I post a new video. I think I'm gonna start posting every Wednesday and then maybe once on the weekend or something like that. Go over to my main channel, it's just called Life of Sky, and subscribe there. I'm going to be doing vlogs and challenge videos, vlogs, challenge videos, maybe pranks, a little hauls and try-ons, just a little bit of everything. So go over to that channel and subscribe there as well. I posted a couple videos. I have one coming out tomorrow. Today is Sunday, so I have one coming out on Monday. I think I'm gonna be posting on my main channel on Mondays and Fridays, and then I'm gonna be posting on this channel on Wednesdays, and then maybe once on the weekends as well. So stay tuned for those. And yeah, I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.